Hi everyone, welcome back. We are going to start right now. It's 3 p.m. and 1 minute. So we are going to start. So thank you all for joining us today for a webinar about Galigeo G21, the new version of the Galigeo software. Just before we start, in the GoToWebinar interface, you have a chatter and you can ask your question. If you have any issue, you feel free to ask a question, or if you have, I would say, more technical question, business question regarding everything that will be said and shown during this webinar, do not hesitate to share that with us, and we will take the questions at the end of the webinar. So to start off, what we can say is that last year was a bit atypical, was a bit special. But we hope that I would say this year will be better. And we are going to see during this webinar how passion analytics can help you improve your decision making in uncertain times, like it was back in 2020. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'll just browse some slides with the new features, and I would say the most important one. And then we are going to jump into a product demonstration. And after that, as I've said in the beginning, we'll be moving forward to questions and answers. So the first thing that is brand new in Galigeo G21 is an embedded geocoder. So this was asked by a lot of customers for a long time, the possibility to bring addresses in the product and to get these addresses plot on the map automatically. And this is not possible with the G21. So you can come with Excel files that contains addresses, and there is an embedded geocoding module that is going to geocode the addresses, and then you will be able to manipulate the data on the map like if it was directly coming from X and Y coordinates from your database. And we will see later in the product demonstration how it works. A brand new feature as well, the collaborative one, is the possibility to share maps in a few clicks. And I know the possibility of sharing maps is something that exists for a long time right now in Galigeo, but it was only, I would say, for the Galigeo users. So you could create a map, share it to one of your collaborators, and say, okay, look at what I found. And this person, he needed to add a Galigeo license. He needed to be a Galigeo user in order to access the map. And as of right now, you can directly share it by mail. So I'm going to show that in the demonstration as well. And you can share it by everyone around you, even if the persons are not Galigeo users. And of course, they will have access to limited functionalities, but they will reset the map and they can manipulate the map. They can zoom in, they can see what you found in terms of insights. And so it helps to, I would say, help spreading insights and new discoveries across different departments in the company. So in terms of connectivity, this one is, I would say, a bit more specific. You can now directly plug Galigeo to the CRM Salesforce. So we already, I would say, have an app for Salesforce, and this is different. This is just a connection, a live connection between Salesforce data and Galigeo. So if you have already built visualizations in Galigeo using different data sources, Excel, your SQL databases, etc., you can enrich it by automatically plugging to your CRM, the Salesforce CRM, and you can do advanced stuff like optimizing your sales territories directly by leveraging data coming from the CRM. So this is a bit more technical. We are not going to review it in the demonstration, and of course, it's only, I would say, it's only interesting for you if you have Salesforce, but just so you know that it's part of the new features. We have also redesigned the time series. So as of right now, time series, this was in a widget on the top right of the screen. It was not really, we say, easy to understand where it was placed, what it was useful for. I know it has been completely redesigned. And you have a big, I would say, a large control bar that is what I call YouTube-like, that is available at the bottom of the screen with new options. And we will review that as well in the demonstration. And same that the time series, we have also, I would say, redesigned. So it's not a complete redesign, but we have redesigned the user interface. Yeah, of course, every time we do something, we try to understand why we do that. And we had seen that, I would say, some core features, they were needing several clicks to be accessible. And so we have been rethinking the user interface to make this kind of features, I would say, easier to access and easier to use. And especially features that are used many times in the product, like filtering, etc. This is, I would say, accessible in one click right now, where you needed several clicks, and it was a bit kind of hidden features. And we will also take a look at that in the product demonstration. Of course, something that we say every time, but all your favorite features from the previous version, they are still there. So I've listed some of them here. So of course, heat maps, and I've not talked about that, but heat maps have been improved as well. So you see time series, spatial selection, annotation, printing, flows, maps, etc. All the stuff, all the different features that you were using already in the product, they are still there. You can still leverage them. There have been no regression. We have not, I would say, removed some features from the product. So you can upgrade to G21 with peace of mind. You keep everything working that I would say was already existing, and you enrich it with the new features. So we are going to switch to the product demonstration. And just before we do that, I'm going to just put up a small survey that is going to be shown on your screen, and you can answer directly by clicking on the different options. When I'm switching to the demonstration, so I'm going to start it for like 1 minute. So feel free to answer, and then we jump into the product demonstration. Okay, I'm launching it. I close the survey. Okay, so we are back for the presentation right there. So what I'm going to show is a demonstration that takes place in the US and especially in the East Coast of the US. Just let me see. It seems like there is a small delay between what I say and what you are currently seeing on the screen. Okay, sorry, just a few minutes. Just checking there. Okay, so we are good right now. We seems to be good. Okay. So what I'm presenting right now is, I would say, some use case about a retailer that is selling different products in the East Coast of the US. And what we are seeing right now is the different turnover that was made by zip codes. We can also turn on the different shops. So there, I would say it's the icon of the brand displayed on top of the shops. So you see that on the left, you have the new interface that has slightly changed. Right now, you can directly change the name of the layer directly from the interface. And before that, you needed to go into the user thematics to modify it. It was a bit not user friendly. And you still have access to the different features like heat map, clusters, editions. And you can also trigger the filter directly there from the right of the name for each layers, which was more before a hidden feature. Okay, so we have that, and we have different KPIs. So as you can see right now, this is the turnover that is in dollar that is displayed for each zip codes, and we have the shops there, and it just displays as an icon. And what we are going to do, we are going to switch, instead of displaying the shop view, we are going to switch to another one that is the growth margin. Because you see in my shop, I have some indicators, and I have the turnover, I have the gross margin, I have several different ones like growth rate, etc. But let's switch to this one that has already been created. And now it's displaying points instead of, I would say, icon. And each point has a different colors. And as you can see from the legend on the right, I would say the greener it is, the better it is, and the redder it is, meaning that the gross margin was really bad. And then we have 4 months of data. It's last year, it's September, October, November, and December. As we see the map like this, we can say, okay, everything seems like it's almost green. I see here and there some red, etc. But as I've said, we have several. Sorry, I'm just creating the motion maps. We have several months of data, so let's animate that. So I select the months in my data sets. And you see that on the bottom, I have my new YouTube-like player for controlling the time series. So it's more accessible, and instead of having that on the top right, it's now on the bottom, and it's more responsive if you are using that on the tablet. Okay, so as I've said, we have 4 months of data, so I'm just going to slow down a bit the animation, and okay, here we go. We start at September. It's September. Okay, in October, it's getting redder and redder. Okay, so we see clearly a trend. Like in September, I would say most of the shops, they were in the green, but as we can see in October and in November, it became red. Yeah, it became red, sorry. So what we can do right now is browse the different months one by one. So you see October. So in October, it becomes a bit orange there. So it's between +5 and +10 of gross margin. And if we jump into November, it's red. It's red, and then in December there's some kind of, I don't know, of resurgence going on here, but we can see that clearly the end of the year was not really good for this retailer, and of course the context of coronavirus, a lot of people stay at home, a lot of shops are getting closed by the government, etc. It can explain, but there, as you can see, when we add all the data for the 4 months, it was giving us more an indication that everything was green. But if we browse that month by month, we clearly see that this is not the case. And we really wanted to highlight and to this feature of time series, because it's we had the feeling that it was not used enough by the customers, while it's something that's just really powerful. Because most of the time in the business data, you always have temporal dimensions, and browsing that through time and space, it really helps to understand how the business is evolving. So there, as you can see, on the left, we have the heat map icons, and we have also a new one. Okay. So if I activate the heat map, the first thing that you can see there is that it does not have I would say, the standard colors. If you know what I mean, that was going from the, I would say, from the light blue to red. And we did that because the fact that the highest value of the heat map was always red, sometimes it can be misleading regarding the KPI that you are, I would say, plotting on the map and using as a heat map. And so now you can customize your heat maps with the colors you want, and you can add several, I would say, shades of colors in the heat map. And so what we see right there is that I would say the green areas are areas where the shops were performing okay, and all of the redder one are, I would say, the less performing shops there. But the problem with the heat map, it gives you a good trend. If you, I would say, zoomed out a lot and you have a lot of data, so it gives you the trend where you have to look at. But the problem is that you lose the granularity. You see, for example, some big green shades, and you won't exactly know why you have the big green shade. Is it because you have one shop that is overperforming, or you have several shops that are performing, I would say, less performing, but still performing? Okay. So this is why we have also brought these new features, which is called Hexagon. And it's the same as the heat map, but it's going to create hexagons on the fly based on your data. So there we split, I would say, the Earth in hexagonal grids. And then we look for each grid, the data that there is in, and then we create this one. So everything is done on the fly. And then you can also, like the heat map, you can play on the granularity of the grid. And so you can have this kind of views that, I would say, does not look exactly like the heat map, but it gives you better granularity when it comes to analyzing what is going on. So if we look at the legend, we see that most of the grid, they are, I would say, representing the +5 to 0 gross margin. And we can directly click on the legend, for example, to select only the ones that are positive, and you see that there is really not so much when you look at the data this way. And yeah, if we put the +5 to 0, this is, I would say, the most. And if we put the last two, you see that you still have a lot of them on the map. So this feature on the ledger, the possibility to hide data, this is something that was already existing, but yeah, it's not really well known from the customer. So this is why I thought I was going to highlight it in the demonstration as well. Okay. So these features, Hexagon, it's like the heat map, like the cluster. You activate it in one click, and then you can play with it at different granularities in order to get a trend of what's going on. Let me put back everything there. So what I could do right now is try to correlate my data with contextual data, and it could be socio-economical data, it could be weather data. And what I'm going to do there is that I'm going to import an Excel file which has coronavirus data. So I've already imported that before the demonstration. So I have data about coronavirus, and it basically it's giving me, I would say, some indicators for each zip codes. Yeah, in the East Coast right there. Just some configuration first, just to show you that when you import something from the internet. So for example, there I downloaded that from an open data portal, and you have, I would say, many data sources that are free to use and that can really enrich your businesses, and that are free to use, available on open data portals. And now, if I just take my coronavirus data, plot it on the map, and switch to the heat map, you get a trend. So there, it's giving me the cases of coronavirus for the East Coast, and you see that clearly you have a trend. And of course, it's across big cities that you have the most cases. But for example, you see that in the north of the territories that are displayed there, this is where my shops have been I would say the best performing, and this is where you have seen the least cases of coronavirus. So there, if I just add a filter for only selecting data, I don't know, for November, for example, I have these views. So I have my heat map, I have my data for November, and I want to share that with my colleagues. But the problem is that my colleagues, he's not a Galigeo users. So I just want to bring in this map, and I could add some annotations, could add some comments in order for him to exactly know where I want him or her to look when he's going to open the map. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to save the views. So this is a new feature as well. You can save many views of your data when you are in front of something, and you want to keep it as it. You want to, I would say, do a snapshot of the visualization as of right now, and you can create as many views as you want. So you can switch back between the views directly from the top left menu, as we can see here. So you see the one that I've created, gross margin X coronavirus. And now, as I was mentioning, I want to share that with my colleagues. So I just need to click there on the bottom right, and you see that I have the share map menu that is here and there. And as I was mentioning in the beginning, it's going to send a mail. It's going to send a mail with a link to open the map. So I'm going to send that to my colleague Christian. I know he's watching me right now during this webinar. So Christian, I'm going to send you this map, and you can take a look at it after the webinar. Okay, so you can personalize it with a message. You can send that to I would say several persons at the same time. And you see on the top, I have email successfully sent. So these new features will really help to, I would say, spread, as I was mentioning, Galigeo and spatial analytics across your companies. So the links that are going to be sent to the different users. So the ones that are Galigeo users, this is not a problem for them. Open the links, and they have access to the features they have access to based on the, we say, on the role that they have in terms of Galigeo roles. And for the ones that are not Galigeo users, they will have the possibility to explore the map, to see what you have did. Of course, they won't be able to create new layers. They won't be able, for example, to switch the base maps, etc. They will be able to print the map. This is also an interesting feature. So they will be able to print the map in PDF, for example. And the link you are going to send them will be available for 1 month. And so this feature is really intended to, I would say, share across company spatial analytics. And it is not geared to be used, I would say, for public-facing applications that will be opened by, I don't know, anonymous users. it's really to be sent to customers directly by mail. Okay. So the things I wanted to show after that, so I'm going to reset the map, okay, and start back here. Okay. So the last features I want to show there is, of course, the geocoding module. This is the first thing that I've said in my slides. Most of we have been in the past, we have seen a lot of customers coming to us and saying, okay, I have data, I have addresses, but I don't know how can I see my data on the map. And we were telling them you need to geocode the data, etc., etc. And so you enter in the process that, yeah, it's not going to be self-service. If you don't know to geocode data, of course we can help on that, and we have been helping a lot for the past years. But we decided that perhaps it was better to, I would say, empower some users with the possibility to directly geocode by themselves the data. So what I've did there, so I've zoomed on the demonstration I was previously showing. I've imported, as you can see, the competitors. So it's only competitors from a specific cities. You have the name on the right, etc. And you have addresses. And now you have a new menu that is called geocoding. And you just need to fill parameters. So there I have street addresses, I have zip, I have country. Okay. And when I'm done, I'm going to click on geocode and it's going to geocode me the data. Okay. If I click here, and of course this will be an important part, you see that it's going, oh sorry, I went a bit too fast, but the main purpose of what I was showing is that it's going to consume credits. It's really important to be mentioned. So by default, you have a number of credits. If you are already a customer, you already have them in your licenses. It's going to share credits with the code to isochrony, to drive time. And of course, when you have no credits, you can't geocode anymore. So, so this is important to be mentioned. When you are going to geocode the data, you need to make sure that you have enough, I would say, credits to do that. And the best way to do that is just to click on the geocode button, and it will show you the number of credits that you have left. Okay. And so when you are done, you see that you have latitude and longitude that have appeared directly there in my datasets, and that means that now I can freely use this this new dataset and plot it on the map. So I've converted my street addresses to X and Y coordinates. Okay, so I click on competitors, and okay, they've been added there. So as I've mentioned, they are only taking a part of the of specific cities, and you see the green pin there that have been appearing. The green pins on the map. These are my competitors. Okay. I can switch the base map so you can see a little bit better. Okay, let's also remove the zip code as boundaries. Okay, so you see that now that you have done that, it really behaves exactly like any data sources. You have access to all the information. You can freely play around. I would say you can freely play with the different KPIs that you may have in the data sets, and it's going to really help in terms of spatial analytics, because perhaps you have already, I would say, data that have been geocoded. But most of the time, when you try to bring external data, you have addresses or you have references, but you don't really have the possibility to add them directly on the map. And these new features will greatly help you doing so just by clicking on the geocoding button. So this was it for the demonstration. I'm just checking the time. Okay, we have 5 minutes left. I'm going to switch back to the slides, and yeah, same as the beginning for the transition. I'm going to just pull up another survey. So the same as the first one, you can directly answer from your screen while I'm switching back to the slides. Thank you. Okay, so the survey should be open right now. The slides. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Okay, here we go. We are back on the slides. So the different features that I've been presenting, and of course, this was not an exhaustive presentation because it would take too long. After the webinar, you will receive a mail, and where you will have access to the complete change log to see everything that has been fixed and everything that is new in the product. But I hope that it helped you to, I would say, have an idea of the core features that we brought in the G21. So the G21 is out already, so it came out yesterday. So you can download it already. You can try it if you want to, and of course you can upgrade if you're already a customers. And if you want to do a trial, this is also possible, and there is a 30-day free trial that is included. So the G21 is available as a standalone product. So for some of you, what is called Galigeo Enterprise. So the possibility to leverage spatial analytics directly from the, I would say, Galigeo portal. Of course, there is always the different solutions that are for SAPs. For IBM, sorry, you have also the API. So the API is the possibility to embed all the Galigeo technology within something that is custom to your enterprise, or within a product that I would say we do not support by default. If you have a custom portals and you want to add some spatial analytics capabilities to it, and you don't want to redevelop everything, you can just take Galigeo, put it in your portal using the API, and start leveraging all the different features. And for example, if you have BI tools that is not in this list, you can also bring Galigeo inside and directly leverage it yourself. Okay, without having to redevelop, to recode everything. And I would say the new information there that we can share is that we have also now a partnership with Information Builder. So that is not TIPCO, that was bought by TIPCO some months ago. And so the BI solution that they have that is called WebFocus, you will now have the possibility to directly leverage Galigeo from WebFocus, the same way that you were already doing that from SAP or IBM. Okay, so we're going to switch into Q&A parts. I'm just going to check the question. Okay, so we have several questions, and I would say most of them are around the geocoding module. Okay, so I'm going to take the first one. So what countries does geocode features support? South Africa. So the geocoding module is supposed to I would say, work all across the world. So it should support South Africa. From my end, directly myself, I have not tested it for South Africa. But I would say in big countries, it should work. Yes, it should work. So another one, this one is really important, is how the geocoding module is working. Does it require an access to internet? So this is something I haven't mentioned, but yeah, indeed, the geocoding module by default is going to use third-party services that requires you to send the addresses to internet. So yeah, this is important to be mentioned. This is important to be mentioned because that requires you to have, I would say, the right proxy and firewall configured in order for this option to work. I have another one that is more SAP specific. BI4.3 SP1 is not fully compatible with Galigeo G20, so it's G20 and it fixes in G21. So this is true. There is fixes that are in G21. If you go to the changelog that you're going to save, you have, I would say, the complete list of what is working and what is not. And we're still waiting for SAP to re-enable APIs that we are using in BI 4.2 in order to fully make Galigeo work. And I would say the main features that right now is not working in 4.3. In SAP 4.3 is the possibility to do map to BI, so to make the map interact with the rest of the components of the reports. But besides that, almost everything is working fine. So it's we are at time, guys. There is other questions, so I'm just going to stop here, and I'm going to so for the question that I had no time to answer, we are going to send a follow-up mail to answer you on the different questions that you have asked. So of course, if you have any questions, if you are customers and you need support, if you want to engage with us, or even just I would say take a remote coffee, a virtual coffee, feel free to reach out to us. So there is myself, Vincent. Probably most of the persons there, they know me. And there is Christian as well. That wasn't with me today, but yeah, he's more the sales guy. And if you have a sales question, you can reach out to him. You have the contact. And last, just 1 minute, a quick message for our SAP attendees. I know you are a lot during this webinar, and most of you are brand new to Galigeo. This is probably the first time that you see us. So we are aware that this webinar was not, I would say, SAP focused, and we have not shown everything we say regarding SAP. So we are going to receive, you are going to receive as well different follow-up mails with, I would say, more SAP-related questions. And so in the meantime, feel free to engage with us if you have, I would say, questions regarding Galigeo in SAP and what we can bring to you. Okay. So I'm going to thank you guys. We almost made it in time. I hope you enjoyed the webinar. And when the session will stop, you are going to see in your browser, I would say, a last survey, which there will be more a survey to help us, I would say, improve in the future. So you will be able to rate the webinar, to say if you want to see specific topics getting covered in the future regarding special analytics or regarding just Galigeo in general. So feel free to answer it. And thank you again for joining us today. And I hope you have a nice day and take care of your families.